Welcome to my film review of Blinded by the Lights, otherwise known as the Bruce Springsteen movie, perhaps? So this was a movie that, I've got to be honest, didn't think it would appeal to me particularly, because Bruce Springsteen couldn't have even told you one of his songs, even though you realise how many of his songs you know and actually quite like, but nevertheless wasn't asked about seeing this movie at all. But big movie, wanted to see it, get the review out there, and I was pleasantly surprised. Straight off the bat, I'm going to tell you I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10. Really, really enjoyed it. And I was pleasantly surprised. Hooked from the first moment of the movie. You know, that brilliant feeling when as soon as a movie starts, you instantly like the characters and the way the movie's developing. You just love it. And that's exactly what this movie was like. So big thumbs up for me. I was really pleased about that. So let me give you an idea as to whether this is a movie that would appeal to you or not, because you might think the same as me. Not interested in Springsteen, so I'm not going to go and see it. Well, similar to how the Yesterday movie, although it was supposedly about the Beatles, wasn't really about the Beatles at all, this is similar. It's very similar. So it's a Bruce Springsteen movie, not at all. It's just a movie that has his soundtrack and he's referenced a lot. So basically this is a feel-good movie. It's not a movie about Bruce Springsteen. It's a movie about how music can inspire people. You know, you remember when you were a kid, and I certainly did, used to listen to so much music when I was younger, and you felt like it all spoke to you. And that's exactly what's going on in this movie. And it's really good. It's really uplifting. It's really nice. I was laughing lots of times throughout this movie, laughing out loud plenty of times. Didn't realise it was going to be so funny. There was also a few like quite emotional bits, bit of a tear-jerkery bit. And yeah, it was brilliant. Just thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I think it was on for, was it close to 2 hours? It absolutely flew by. So that's always a good sign. So yeah, so don't be mistaken by thinking this is a movie about Bruce Springsteen. It's not at all. It hardly really does any Bruce Springsteen-y stuff. So again, if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan, like I was a huge Beatles fan going into Yesterday, initially I was a little bit disappointed, but then I thought, you know what, this is an awesome, hilarious movie with a Beatles soundtrack. That's exactly what this is like. Now, I loved the soundtrack of this movie. It wasn't all Bruce Springsteen. Early on in the movie, there was a lot of other kind of nostalgic 80s kind of soundtrack music going on that wasn't Bruce, and it was really enjoyable. So hopefully if you're a Bruce fan, you'll still get a good kick out of this movie because of all the music that gets played. And also at the end, they do a bit of an ode to Bruce. You know, some very specific Bruce Springsteen-y bits where if you're a big fan, I think you'll get a big kick out of that. So there is something in there for the hardcore Bruce fans as well, which is nice. But ultimately, what was I going to say there? Regarding the soundtrack, that's it. It's a movie based in the 80s as well. So think of the Margaret Thatcher era when she was in power. That's related to quite a lot. There's also a lot of racism in this movie, which it's just so sad to see. It's horrendous. It makes you feel sick to your stomach. But you know, the National Front, that was very much a part of the times, I guess, during the 80s, so that has to be in the movie, and it's really horrible to see. It makes you feel sick, but you know, it's a movie that's relative to the time of the 80s, and it incorporates all of the stuff from the 80s, which is nice. Oh, and one part as well which blew my mind was when he bought his festival, he bought a music ticket, not a festival ticket, he bought a music ticket from HMV. Do you remember that? When you could actually buy music tickets from HMV. I loved that. I'd completely forgotten about that. When I started going to bands, when I was a teenager, when I was young, I forgot that you didn't buy them online. There was no online. There was no Ticketmaster. You went to HMV. I mean, HMV used to be huge, and now they've avoided liquidation a couple of times recently. They've just been bought out and saved again, and more shops shut. It's quite sad. But back in the day, HMV was everything. It wasn't just somewhere you went to buy your music. It was somewhere you went to buy your music tickets. Bands used to play in some of the stores. And that was a really nice little reminder. I could not believe I'd forgotten that when I first used to start going to music gigs, you'd go to HMV, and you could even go and buy tickets a couple of weeks before the gig started. That blew my mind, you know. And then all of a sudden, now, the day the tickets go on sale, they sell out within seconds. Makes me sick. And obviously most of the people buying them aren't people that want to go. They just want to resell them online. It makes me sick. So it very much reminded me of the good old days. It's very nostalgic. That was the one thing I did write down about this movie. Very nostalgic. Awesome soundtrack. You know, so yes, nice bit of nostalgia for anybody probably age 30 plus. I think you'll really enjoy the nostalgia element of this movie. So to give you an idea of another hint as to what this movie reminded me, again, if you're in your 30s plus, you probably remember the movie East is East. Hopefully you thought it was really funny. I really enjoyed that movie. And what was funny about it was kind of making kind of fun out of the fact that of Eastern traditions. I think it was the Pakistani traditions meeting English cultures and traditions, and the clash and how different they were, but not making a mockery of it in a horrible way, making it in a funny kind, letting you see the funny side of things, you know, and done with very good taste and put a smile on your face. And that's exactly what this movie did. So the main characters in it are Pakistani. And immediately the dad is amazing. I love the dad. He's hilarious. Absolute brilliant character. Perfectly cast. The main character who plays the younger boy, again, brilliantly cast. You're really on board with him right away. Really likeable guy. You're really rooting for him. And yeah, well done. And again, you see the Pakistani cultures kind of clashing and trying to integrate with the traditional English cultures, and a lot of it is quite funny, quite humorous, and also the funny side is just realizing how different it all is. So that was quite powerful, really. So overall, it's a feel good movie based on a young character who's been very much influenced by Bruce Springsteen music, and it takes you through his journey of finding his way in life and what is it he wants to do with his life, and how the Bruce Springsteen influenced him not only as a person but also gave him kind of, well, you'll see. I won't say any more. So overall, you know, brilliant movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope that's helped you understand whether this is the movie that you want to go and see. My recommendation is that you should definitely go and see it, because this was just a brilliant movie all around. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Very uplifting, feel-good movie. Definitely go and see it. So, I hope you've helped. Go and see this movie. It's definitely worth seeing at the cinema. By all means, see it on the cheap, but it's worth going to see at the cinema for the soundtrack, for the music, for the loudness, you know. Definitely one that you'll enjoy at the cinema. So I hope you found this review useful. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next review. Goodbye.